yoga, among others. The 12th Parliament is firmly aligned to the government's objective of moving the approximately 38% of our population from subsistence to the formal money economy. Your Excellency and honorable members, the legislature looks forward to a productive financial year 2026-2027 in line with our national development aspiration. I thank you for your kind attention.
Item number 6, presentation of the budget speech.
Honorable members, as it is the practice, the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development will deliver the budget speech on behalf of His Excellency the President, after which the President will make additional remarks. I now invite the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development to deliver the budget speech.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity granted.
I did not grant you an opportunity, but you have accessed the microphone. What do you have to say?
Your Excellency, I take cognizance of your presence in the House. Right Honorable Speaker, my procedure matter arises under Rule 11, Sub-Rule 5, and the Rule 26, Sub-Rule 2 of our Rules of Procedure. Right Honorable Speaker, specifically, Rule 11, Sub-Rule 5, verbally reads, the constitution of the Commission under this rule shall be done during the first meeting of the first session of a new Parliament. Right Honorable Speaker, I'm aware that the side of the Leader of Opposition has already nominated the commissioner amongst the 4 bench commissioners. That is Honorable Nambeshe. But the side of the government, we have not seen any commissioner. Since the government chief whip is in place, isn't it procedural right that we constitute this House to its fullest, so that to mandate its function? Right Honorable Speaker, the House looks to move in a half. It's in amoeba shape, in a Mongolo shape. And this is the mother of corruption, Right Honorable Speaker. In line with Rule 26 of our Rules of Procedure, the rules are clear that in formation of the order paper for every sitting, there must be the business committee in consultation to your consent to come up with the order paper that the House has to follow. I'm wondering, Right Honorable Speaker, if it's not risky on your side, determining the entire task of the business committee just on your shoulder. And the members, if we move the House in such a manner, I don't know whether we shall be respecting our own rules. Right Honorable Speaker, it is to my humble prayer and request, in line with the procedural matter raised, that the entire businesses this House has heard be rendered null and void, and we constitute the House to its fullest to carry on its function as mandated in law. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
I want to thank you, Honorable Member from Bale. We all now know that he's a second-year law student. He's very, very vigilant. And this is the session for, and let me give guidance to the member so that nobody else makes the same mistake. This is the first meeting, and the first meeting has sittings. This is the 5th sitting of the first meeting. Now the honorable member thinks that Rule 11, as stipulated here, is referring to the sitting. This is the first meeting of the 5th sitting of the first meeting of the first session of the 12th Parliament. We need induction clerk very quickly and urgently to help members know the difference between a sitting and a meeting of Parliament. On the constitution of that's on the constitution of the Parliamentary Commission. On the order of business, Parliament is forming. I have no doubt that the clerk, as even of today, has written, and let me take the same opportunity to tell the government chief whip and the leader of opposition that we need lists, which I even communicated here, of all committee members and leadership and the commission. We need that urgently before the 26th of this month. There is nothing null and void except the statement made in a wrong way. Next item.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, Your Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic of Uganda, the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament of Uganda, Your Lordship, the Chief Justice, the Right Honorable Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Your Lordship, the Deputy Chief Justice, the Vice Chairman of the NRM Party, the Right Honorable Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Deputy Prime Ministers, Honorable Ministers and Ministers of State, Your Excellencies, the heads of diplomatic missions, Honorable Members of Parliament, former leaders, traditional leaders, religious leaders, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Speaker, sir, in accordance with Article 155 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda and the Public Finance Management Act, CAP 171, and on behalf of His Excellency the President, I present to Parliament and the people of Uganda the national budget for financial year 2026-2027 as approved by this Parliament. In this speech, I will, number one, present the recent performance of the economy and the outlook for the year ahead. Two, account to the people of Uganda on commitments made in financial year 2025-2026 that is coming to an end in a few days. Three, highlight government priorities for financial year 2026-2027. And four, outline the strategy for financing the budget. Right Honorable Speaker, allow me to begin by congratulating His Excellency the President and the National Resistance Movement upon the resounding victory in the recently concluded general elections. In addition, I congratulate His Excellency the President upon assuming chairmanship of the East African Community. This is in recognition of his exemplary leadership and passion for advancing regional integration and Pan-Africanism. I also congratulate Her Excellency the Vice President, Right Honorable Speaker, Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, Right Honorable Prime Minister, colleagues, Honorable Ministers, Honorable Members of Parliament, and all other leaders elected to serve our country during this important phase of Uganda's development. Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to thank His Excellency the President for the confidence he has placed in me and my political leadership team by entrusting us with the responsibility of leading the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development. I also would like to thank and congratulate my senior, Honorable Matia Kasaija, for the leadership and mentorship in the past 10 years. Your Excellency, we accept this responsibility with humility, determination, and a clear understanding of the task before us. That task is to accelerate wealth creation, eliminate poverty, create productive jobs, and transform Uganda into a $500 billion economy in the shortest possible time. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, Uganda enters this new political term from a position of strength. Unlike many previous election cycles that were characterized by high inflation, exchange rate instability, and macroeconomic uncertainty, our economy remains stable and resilient and is growing rapidly. Result, Uganda has built one of the strongest foundations of socio-economic transformation on the African continent. Uganda has, number one, sustained long-term economic growth above 5% despite repeated global shocks. Two, surpassed the lower middle income threshold of United States dollars 1,136 with gross national income per capita reaching United States dollars 1,389. Three, we have recorded one of the strongest external sector performances in recent history, nearly doubling exports over the last 5 years. Four, we have expanded access to health, education, and social services. Five, we have built critical infrastructure that supports investment and competitiveness. And six, we have established a solid foundation for industrialization and private sector-led growth. Mr. Speaker, sir, the challenge before us is no longer simply growing the economy. The challenge is ensuring that growth translates into jobs, household incomes, enterprise development, and prosperity for every Ugandan. That is the essence of full monetization, as His Excellency the President has consistently emphasized. That is the focus of the tenfold growth strategy, and it is the central objective of this budget. Mr. Speaker, sir, financial year 2026-2027 marks the commencement of the implementation of the NRM manifesto. It is also the second year of implementing the fourth National Development Plan, the first plan specifically designed to deliver the tenfold growth strategy. Mr. Speaker, sir, and honorable colleagues, in the spirit of protecting the gains, we have maintained the financial year 2026-2027 budget theme as full monetization of Uganda's economy through commercial agriculture, industrialization, expanding and broadening services, digital transformation, and market access. This theme is aligned with the East African Community Budget theme of deepening regional integration and economic resilience through improved regional security, domestic revenue mobilization, and digital transformation for inclusive growth. I now come to the recent economic performance and outlook. Mr. Speaker, sir, despite geopolitical tensions, global trade disruptions, and continued uncertainty in the world economy, Uganda's economic outlook remains strong and positive. The economy is stable, growth is accelerating, inflation is low, the exchange rate is stable, exports are rising, investment is increasing, and confidence in Uganda's future remains strong. Mr. Speaker, sir, Uganda's economy continues to demonstrate remarkable resilience and dynamism. Economic growth for financial year 2025-2026 is estimated at 6.4%, up from 6.3% in financial year 2024-2025. The size of the economy is projected to increase to approximately United States dollars 69.3 billion, equivalent to Uganda shillings 250.4 trillion by the end of June 2026. In purchasing power parity terms, Uganda's GDP is estimated to be United States dollars 197.1 billion. GDP per capita is projected to increase to United States dollars 1,420, equivalent to approximately Uganda shillings 5.1 million per person. Mr. Speaker, sir, with the commercial oil production commencing later this calendar year, growth is projected to accelerate to 10.2% in financial year 2026-2027. This will mark Uganda's first return to double-digit growth since the reforms of the 1990s. Most importantly, a larger economy will accelerate more jobs, raise household incomes, expand opportunities for businesses, and generate the resources required to invest in quality education, health care, infrastructure, security, and other public services that improve the lives of Ugandans. This performance confirms that our strategy of investing in security, infrastructure, wealth creation, and the productive sectors is delivering results. I thank His Excellency the President for his steadfast leadership, strategic guidance, and insistence on phased prioritization. Mr. Speaker, I wish to repeat this one. This performance confirms our strategy of investing in security, infrastructure, wealth creation, and the productive sectors is delivering results. I thank His Excellency the President for his steadfast leadership, strategic guidance, and insistence on phased prioritization. Colleagues, I invite you to give His Excellency the President a round of applause. I now come to inflation. Mr. Speaker, sir, inflation remains low and stable. Average inflation during financial year 2025-2026 is estimated at 3.8%, compared to 3.5% recorded the previous financial year. This stability has been supported by effective coordination between fiscal and monetary policy, stable food prices, and improved management of fuel supply. Low inflation protects household incomes, supports business planning, and strengthens investor confidence. Government remains committed to maintaining price stability as a cornerstone to sustained economic growth. Right Honorable Speaker, the strength of an economy is reflected not only in how much it produces, but also in the confidence it inspires among investors, visitors, citizens, and at home and abroad. I am pleased to report that confidence in Uganda's economy continues to grow. Foreign direct investment remains strong at United States $3.2 billion in the 12 months ending March 2026. This reflects growing investor confidence in Uganda's economy. Of even greater significance, investors are increasingly expressing interest in Uganda's small and medium enterprises. Kampala-based startups attracted about United States $30 million in 2025, up from just United States $4 million a year before. This surge signals growing confidence in Uganda's innovation ecosystem and affirms our emergence as a destination for entrepreneurship, technology, and investment. Mr. Speaker, remittances from Ugandans working abroad have significantly increased to $2.8 billion in the 12 months to March 2026 from $1.9 billion a year before. Remittances provide an important source of foreign exchange, investment, capital, and household income. Mr. Speaker, sir, tourism has fully recovered from the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Tourism receipts increased to United States $1.86 billion in 2025, compared to United States $1.4 billion in 2018-2019, before the COVID pandemic. This remarkable recovery from the lowest receipts of $562 million recorded in 2020 demonstrates growing international confidence in Uganda as a destination for business, investment, and leisure. Government remains committed safeguarding and expanding this vital source of foreign exchange and jobs. By increasing investment in tourism infrastructure, the sector, security, and our missions abroad to effectively advance economic and commercial diplomacy. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Uganda shilling remains one of Africa's best performing freely floating currencies. This stability reflects prudent macroeconomic management, a liberalized foreign exchange regime, and a strong foreign exchange inflows from exports, tourism, foreign direct investments, portfolio inflows, and remittances. As a result, Uganda's foreign exchange reserves are now at United States $6 billion. In the 12 months to March 2026, up from United States $3.6 billion a year before. Government's decision to directly import petroleum products through the Uganda National Oil Company, UNOC, has further strengthened supply stability and reduced speculative pressures in the foreign exchange market. We expect the exchange rate to remain broadly stable despite ongoing global uncertainties. On the external sector, Right Honorable Speaker, Uganda's export performance has been exceptional. Over the last 5 years, exports of goods and services have increased by approximately 204%. Total exports earnings reached $18.04 billion in the 12 months to March 2026 from $5.93 billion in the 12 months to March 2022. The leading exports include gold, coffee, cocoa, fish products, steel products, sugar, and a growing range of manufactured goods. Our coffee exports reached $2.46 billion for the year ending March 2026, up from $1.84 billion a year before. Uganda's exports mainly go to the Middle East, which accounts for $6.3 billion. Africa accounts for $4.1 billion. Asia accounts for $2.0 billion. And the European Union accounts for $2.5 billion. And the rest of the world accounts for $3.1 billion. This success reflects the deliberate government policy focused on industrialization, value addition, export promotion, and market access. The exports are not merely a trade statistic. They are the engine of Uganda's transformation. They generate foreign exchange, they create jobs, they support enterprise growth, and they strengthen economic resilience. As a result of strong export performance, remittances, and investment inflows, Uganda recorded a balance of payment surplus of United States dollars $2.47 billion, 12 months to March 2026, the highest in 15 years. On employment creation, Right Honorable Speaker, the ultimate test of economic policy is whether it improves the livelihoods of our people through productive employment. Uganda's economy is gradually undergoing structural transformation. The services sector now accounts for 50.5% of total employment, up from 47% previously, while the share of employment to agriculture has declined from 40% to 37.1%. On the other hand, industry accounts for approximately 12.4% of total employment. These shifts are good and are consistent with the structural transformation experienced by today's rich economies, which moved from raw to higher productivity sectors. Mr. Speaker, sir, the capacity of our economy to generate formal employment continues to improve. Employment in private formal establishments has increased by 245%, from approximately 672,300 workers in financial year 2016-2017 to over 2,319,683 workers in financial year 2024-2025. This is in addition to the 503,738 public sector jobs and 10,513,14 informal jobs reported in April 2026. This growth in jobs confirms that Uganda's economy is not only growing but also creating productive jobs for Ugandans. This is on account of deliberate government interventions to create jobs through industrialization and wealth creation. However, creating more productive jobs for our rapidly growing population remains an urgent economic priority. This is why government is investing in ATMs and enablers to create jobs at a scale, especially for young people. Going forward, every major intervention in the national budget will ultimately be judged by its contribution to jobs, incomes, and improved livelihoods. On fiscal performance, Mr. Speaker, sir, government's capacity to finance its development agenda using domestic resources continues to strengthen. This financial year, domestic revenue collections are projected at Uganda shillings 35.7 trillion compared to Uganda shillings 32.3 trillion collected the previous financial year. Mr. Speaker, this financial year 2025-2026, domestic revenue from taxes, non-tax revenues, and local government revenues funded up to 80.9% of the total discretionary budget of Uganda shillings 44.1 trillion. The discretionary budget includes all funds allocated to implementing programs excluding debt and other government obligations. This represents significant progress towards fiscal self-reliance and reduced dependence on external financing. Mr. Speaker, sir, increasing domestic revenue is not merely a fiscal objective. It is a sovereignty objective. A country that finances its development from its own resources enjoys greater policy independence, resilience, and sustainability. Therefore, government will continue to strengthen domestic revenue in line with the domestic revenue mobilization strategy, while preserving incentives for investment, production, and enterprise growth. In financial year 2026-2027, domestic revenue is projected to increase to Uganda shillings 45.6 trillion from Uganda shillings 35.7 trillion in financial year 2025-2026, equivalent to 15.9% of GDP. The additional resources will support investments in the wealth creation, ATMs, and their enablers. I now come to public debt, Right Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as of December 2025, Uganda's total public debt stood at United States dollars 34.86 billion, equivalent to approximately Uganda shillings 126.19 trillion. Of this, external debt amounted to US dollars 15.84 billion, while domestic debt was United States dollars 19.02 billion. This translates into a debt to GDP ratio of approximately 53.0%. Mr. Speaker, public debt should always be assessed alongside the assets it finances and the economic returns it generates. Over the past 10 years, Uganda's debt has financed strategic investments that are transforming the productive capacity of our economy. These investments include, number one, integrated transport infrastructure, which accounts for 31.1% of the debt. Number two, electricity infrastructure, which accounts for 19.3%. Three, water infrastructure, which accounts for 10.3%. Four, agro-industrialization, which accounts for 9.2%. Five, education and health, which accounts for 7.7%. Six, housing and urban development, which accounts for 6.3%. Seven, industrial parks and industrial development, which accounts for 2%. and other investments such as national backbone infrastructure to extend internet, STI, and regional development, which accounts for 7.0%. Mr. Speaker, Uganda's public debt remains sustainable and is projected to stay so over the medium and the long term. Accountability for financial year 2025-2026 and priorities for financial year 2026-2027. Mr. Speaker, when the budget for financial year 2025-2026 was presented last year, government made several commitments aimed at accelerating monetization of the economy and implementing the tenfold growth strategy. The budget focused on 3 broad areas, namely, number 1, wealth creation programs, 2, strategic investments in the ATMs, and 3, investment in the key enablers of growth. I am pleased to report that substantial progress has been made in all the 3 areas above. On wealth creation, Mr. Speaker, the foundation of Uganda's economic transformation is ensuring that every Ugandan participates in the money economy. Government, therefore, has continued to invest in programs that expand access to affordable capital, strengthen enterprise development, and increase household incomes. To date, government has invested close to Uganda shillings 11 trillion directly into wealth creation initiatives targeting households in subsistence economy, farmers, youth, women, and businesses. These interventions are reducing barriers to participation in economic activity while expanding opportunities across the country. Let me highlight what we have done in the flagship wealth creation programs. On parish development model, Mr. Speaker, the parish development model remains government's most important intervention for eliminating subsistence and expanding participation in the money economy. I wish to thank His Excellency the President for his vision and unwavering commitment to this program. PDM is not merely a financing program, it is a structural transformation program. Its objective is to move households from subsistence to commercial production, from survival to enterprise, and from poverty to prosperity. Over the past 5 years, government has transferred Uganda shillings 4.4 trillion to all 10,589 parishes nationwide and as a revolving capital. Ugandans who were previously outside the money economy are now engaged in money-making enterprises. By the end of market access for the PDM beneficiaries, my ministry will seek policy guidance to ensure that the underserved and densely populated parishes, particularly in urban areas, receive adequate funding. Equally important, we will begin a gradual deliberate transition from government transfers to a self-sustaining financial ecosystem. Ultimately, a PDM bank underpinned by strong repayment performance, governance, and value chain development. I now come to other wealth creation programs. Mr. Speaker, in addition to the PDM, government has continued supporting enterprise development through other wealth funds, namely, 1, Emyoga. Government has capitalized the program with Uganda shillings 760 billion in revolving funds. To date, 7,148 Emyoga circles have been established with over 2.48 million members and cumulative savings of Uganda shillings 95.3 billion. An additional Uganda shillings 100 billion has been allocated in financial year 2026-2027. Number two, Katale Loan Facility. The government, through the Microfinance Support Center, introduced this wealth fund to expand access to affordable working capital for market vendors and urban informal operators. It is currently piloted in 6 major markets within the Kampala metropolitan area and will be rolled out nationwide in financial year 2026-2027. The piloted markets are St. Balikudembe, commonly known as Owino, Nakawa, Karerwe, Busega, Nakasero, and Gava markets. The facility is providing working capital loans at an interest rate of 8% per annum. 3, the Small Business Fund. This fund, initially called the Small Business Recovery Fund, was established in 2021 to help small businesses affected by COVID-19 to recover. The fund has disbursed over Uganda shillings 82.1 billion to more than 4,031 small and medium enterprises. It provides affordable financing of up to Uganda shillings 500 million at a 10% interest rate to formal enterprises employing at least 2 people. 4 is the Agricultural Credit Facility. Government has invested a total of Uganda shillings 371.7 billion in the facility as a co-financing with participating financial institutions. The facility has cumulatively disbursed Uganda shillings 1.35 trillion to more than 14,000 beneficiaries. In financial year 2026-2027, an additional Uganda shillings 47.68 billion has been allocated to further capitalize the facility. 5, large-scale commercial farmers financing scheme. In financial year 2025-2026, Uganda shillings 41 billion was provided for interest payments on behalf of the large-scale farmers cultivating over 50 acres of grain and animal feeds. This support has so far enabled 186 farmers to access a total of Uganda shillings 169.1 billion from government-owned commercial banks. The farmers are expected to repay the principal while government pays the interest on their behalf. An additional 41 billion Uganda shillings has been allocated for financial year 2026-2027. 6, Uganda Development Bank. Government has cumulatively capitalized Uganda Development Bank with shillings 1.6 trillion to provide long-term patient capital to strategic sectors vital for industrialization and value addition. The bank has extended over Uganda shillings 2.45 trillion in financing to more than 600 businesses across agriculture, manufacturing, tourism, construction, and services. An additional Uganda shillings 442.2 billion has been allocated in financial year 2026-2027 to further capitalize Uganda Development Bank. 7. Grow and other women funds. Through the World Bank financed Grow project, Uganda shillings 133.14 billion in soft loans has been extended to 6,584 women-owned businesses to support their transition from informality. This complements Uganda shillings 153.5 billion previously disbursed under the Uganda Women Entrepreneurship Program WEP, which has benefited 244,805 women. 8. Youth empowerment programs. The Youth Livelihood Program has financed 24,859 projects benefiting 275,034 youth at a cost of Uganda shillings 195.4 billion, while 57,849 youth have benefited from the Youth Venture Capital Fund. Number 9 is the revolving fund for the creative artists. Government has provided Uganda shillings 33 billion to establish a revolving fund for musicians and other creatives to promote enterprise growth and job creation. 10. Supports teachers' circles. Government released Uganda shillings 20 billion to private teachers' unions to strengthen teachers' welfare through improved access to affordable credit. This is in addition to the earlier Uganda shillings 25 billion that was provided to Walimu Sacco umbrella structures. Mr. Speaker, sir, these wealth creation interventions have expanded access to affordable capital, strengthened enterprise growth, and created jobs. In financial year 2026-2027, government has allocated an additional Uganda shillings 2.49 trillion in wealth creation programs to accelerate monetization of the economy and expand wealth creation. I now come to accelerating tenfold growth through the ATMs. Mr. Speaker, having expanded access to capital through our wealth creation programs, government is now intensifying investment in the sectors that will drive Uganda's next phase of economic transformation. These sectors are collectively known as the ATMs, i.e. number 1, agro-industrialization, number 2, tourism development, 3, mineral-based industrial development, including oil and gas, and 4, science, technology, and innovations, including ICT and the creative arts. These sectors are deliberately selected because they represent Uganda's strongest comparative advantages and possesses the greatest potential to generate exports, jobs, incomes, and investment. Together, they form the engine of the tenfold growth strategy. The objective is simple: to convert Uganda's natural resources, human capital, and innovation into wealth, jobs, and prosperity. And I would like now to detail each. Under agro-industrialization, Mr. Speaker, agriculture remains the backbone of Uganda's economy. It employs millions of Ugandans, supplies raw materials to industry, produces exports, and sustains livelihoods across the country. However, Uganda's future prosperity will not come from producing more raw commodities alone. It will come from increasing productivity, expanding value addition, strengthening agro-processing, and improving market access. Government, therefore, continues to invest strategically across the entire agricultural value chain. Mr. Speaker, agricultural transformation begins with science. This year, government made significant advances in agricultural research and genetics. The Antique Vaccine Facility at the National Livestock Resources Research Institute in Nache Sasa was completed and is now operational, producing about 36 million doses, serving 18 million livestock in the first year. The government also produced foot and mouth disease vaccines and continued to advance research on disease-resistant crops and livestock breeds. These investments will reduce production losses, raise productivity, and increase farmer incomes. On water for production and irrigation, Mr. Speaker, climate change continues to expose farmers to significant weather-related risks. Government is therefore accelerating investment in irrigation and water for production infrastructure to reduce dependency on rainfall. Progress was registered on several major irrigation projects, including Kabuyanda Dam in Isinjiro District, Atali in Buramburi District, Wadelai in Pakwach District, Achomai in Bukedea District, Namaisu in Bududa District, Chembo Mbai in Ibuko District, SIP irrigation scheme in Buramburi District. Solar powered irrigation schemes are also being rolled out across the country. These investments will support all year-round production, increase resilience, and improve agricultural productivity. On mechanization and animal health, Mr. Speaker, government continued developing regional agricultural mechanization centers and animal disease control centers to improve efficiency and productivity in the agricultural sector. Progress was registered in Chiruhura, Mbale, Chijandongo, Bunyangabo, Nakaseke, Katine, and several other districts. These facilities are improving access to modern agricultural equipment, veterinary services, and disease surveillance systems. On expanding commercial coffee production, Mr. Speaker, sir, coffee remains one of the Uganda's most important export commodities. Government has therefore expanded coffee cultivation into northern and eastern Uganda. During the year, 2 coffee mother gardens were established and over 1.4 million coffee seedlings distributed to 7,532 farmers in northern Uganda. This intervention will broaden participation in one of the Uganda's most profitable agricultural value chains. Financial year 2026-2027 priorities for agro-industrialization. Mr. Speaker, a total of Uganda shillings 2.26 trillion has been allocated to the agro-industrialization program in financial year 2026-2027. This is the highest allocation ever to this program. Priority interventions include: 1, agricultural research and innovation, including funding for Antique vaccine commercialization; 2, irrigation and water for production; 3, extension services, more extension workers and their facilitation to reach farmers; 4, provision of good quality agricultural input; 5, post-harvest handling and storage; 6, agro-processing and value addition. 7, quality assurance and certification. And 8, expanding market access. The objective is to move Uganda from exporting low commodities to value addition agricultural products. On tourism development, Mr. Speaker, sir, tourism is one of Uganda's most powerful export industries. It generates foreign exchange, it creates jobs, it supports thousands of enterprises, and showcases Uganda to the world. The following achievements have been registered this financial year. Uganda's global tourism visibility is at an all-time high, driven by the aggressive destination marketing under the Explore Uganda, the Pearl of Africa brand, the country's growing international profile, and industry endorsements are evident in its recent global presence and awards. In the North America market, Uganda won the Best in Show Africa at the 2026 New York Travel and Adventure Show, bolstered by endorsements from the renowned travel journalists. In the Asian market, the country won the Best Exquisite Destination Award at the Outbound Travel Mart in Mumbai and gained strong visibility at the South Asia's leading travel and tourism exhibition in New Delhi. Mr. Speaker, government has intensified the international marketing of destination Uganda through participation in major tourism exhibitions and targeted promotion campaigns in Europe, the United Kingdom, North America, Asia, East Africa, and North Africa. Government also leveraged high-profile platforms, including the Africa Cup of Nations AFCON 2025 tournament in Morocco and the 2025 World Travel Market in London, showcase Uganda's tourism potential and attract visitors. In addition, Uganda successfully secured a bid to host 2 international conferences, further strengthening its position as a preferred destination for meetings, incentives, conferences, and exhibitions. Uganda also launched the economic and commercial diplomacy to market Uganda, expand market access for Ugandan products, attract strategic investors, and mobilize the diaspora to support national development. On tourism infrastructure, Mr. Speaker, government continued to invest in tourism infrastructure and attractions. Progress was made in the development of museums and cultural heritage sites in Moroto and Dokoro. Investments are also underway in the Gwenzori Central Circuit Trail, Chitagata Hot Springs, and visitor facilities at the source of the Nile in Jinja, including an observatory deck and a modern restaurant. Government also established a new wildlife education center in Mbale. These investments are enhancing visitor experiences and strengthening Uganda's competitiveness as a tourism destination. In financial year 2026-2027, the priorities under tourism are the following. Mr. Speaker, government has allocated Uganda shillings 567.32 billion to continue developing the tourism sector next financial year. The priority interventions will include: 1. Branding and marketing of Uganda as a tourism and investment destination. 2. Tourism infrastructure development. 3. Construction of highway sanitation facilities and tourism site refreshment centers. 4. Improving and enforcing hospitality standards and training. 5. Conservation and wildlife protection to increase wildlife population across the national parks. 6. Health tourism. And 7. Economic and commercial diplomacy. I now come to mineral-based industrial development. Mr. Speaker, sir, Uganda is richly endowed with minerals. However, sustainable transformation will come not from extracting minerals, but from processing and adding value to them. Government strategy is therefore to transform mineral wealth into industrial wealth, and the following steps have been taken in that direction. 1. Government intensified mineral exploration and quantification. Geochemical surveys for gold were undertaken in Kasanda, Chiboga and Mubende districts. Exploration confirmed an estimated 300 million tons of iron ore in Kabale, Rubanda, Ruchiga, Chisoro, Kanungu, Chiruhura and Hoima districts. Surveys of copper prospects were conducted at the Bukusu carbonatite complex, which also has the potential for rare earth elements, as well as at the Boma and the Gwensakara sites. Evaluation of uranium, manganese, lithium, and nickel deposits is also ongoing across the country. Number 2, to add value to Uganda's limestone, a new clinker factory was commissioned in Moroto district to produce inputs for cement production. The factory operates a 6,000 ton per day clinker production line with annual production capacity of 2 million tons of clinker and 3 million tons of cement. The project is expected to save the country up to $260 million annually in clinker imports and create up to 4,000 jobs. Number 3, government continued to make substantial progress towards fast oil. Construction of the East African crude oil pipeline and the central processing facilities is at advanced stage and nearing completion. The Tilenga and Kingfisher upstream development projects also registered significant progress despite logistical challenges arising from the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. During the year, 51 additional wells were drilled, bringing the cumulative number to 199 wells, exceeding the 189 wells required for first oil production later this year. 4, government completed the first phase of Kabalega International Airport, providing critical logistics, infrastructure to support oil and gas development, tourism, trade and investment in the Albertine region. Number 5, through the Uganda National Oil Company, government continued the bulk procurement of petroleum products. This has strengthened fuel security and ensured uninterrupted supply despite disruptions in global energy markets. Consequently, Uganda experienced minimal fuel price volatility compared to several countries in the region. 6. In addition, government through UNOC acquired a 20.15% stake in the Kenya Pipeline Company. This is a strategic investment to strengthen Uganda's energy security and enhance the reliability of fuel supply. Given that over 95% of Uganda's refined petroleum products are imported through the Kenyan corridor, this investment will help secure access to critical petroleum infrastructure and support more predictable fuel supply and pricing. Financial year 2026-2027 priorities for minerals and oil and gas. Mr. Speaker, sir, Uganda shillings 473.51 billion has been allocated for mineral-based industrial development, mining, and oil and gas. And the priority areas include, number 1, continued mineral exploration, quantification, and certification. Number 2, continued capitalization of the National Mining Company. 3, establishment of the mineral market and buying centers. 4, operationalization of ECOP. And 5, development of the oil refinery. I now come to science, technology, and innovations. Right Honorable Speaker, no country has achieved rapid economic transformation without innovation. Science, technology, and innovation, including ICT and the creative arts, are critical drivers of productivity, industrialization, and competitiveness. They provide the tools to modernize production, create high-value jobs, and expand Uganda's participation in the global knowledge economy. For Uganda to achieve a tenfold expansion of the economy, STI is going to be at the center of our development strategy. Mr. Speaker, commissioning the Chira vehicle plant in Ijinja marked a major milestone in Uganda's industrialization journey and demonstrates the country's growing technological capabilities. The plant has the capacity to produce up to 2,500 buses annually. Despite being in its early stages of operation, Chira Motors has already made bus sales worth Uganda shillings 21.6 billion and received orders for 450 buses from Uganda and the region. The quality and reliability of its products were further demonstrated through the successful PAR to Cape electric expedition, during which the Kayora electric bus traversed more than 13,000 kilometers across Africa. Mr. Speaker, to date, more than 25,000 electric vehicles, including buses, motorcycles, and bicycles, have been produced locally with up to 40% local content. In a further boost to the sector, Solar Power completed the construction of East Africa's first production-scale lithium-ion battery assembly plant in Uganda. This has strengthened domestic manufacturing capacity and positioned the country as a regional hub for electric mobility and clean energy technologies. On pharmaceuticals and biotechnology, Mr. Speaker, government continued to strengthen pharmaceutical manufacturing and biotechnology as part of the efforts to build a competitive pathogenic economy. Uganda is deliberately supporting the domestic production of medicines, vaccines, diagnostics, and other health products, while promoting research, innovation, import substitution, export growth, and resilience in the health sector. Significant progress was registered through strategic investments in and government procurement from local pharmaceutical and biotechnology companies, including Macrohim Scientifics, Day Pharma, Jena Herbal, and other emerging manufacturers. Macrohim Scientifics has established itself as a leading African manufacturer for rapid diagnostic kits, recording annual sales of approximately United States dollars 75 million from products used in the diagnosis of malaria, HIV/AIDS, and sickle cell diseases. Day Pharma has operationalized manufacturing lines for generic, oral solid, and liquid medicines and secured approvals from the National Drug Authority for a range of essential medicines. Jena Herbal, the manufacturer of Covidex, has established a pharmaceutical manufacturing facility in Soroti, expanding Uganda's capacity to produce health products locally and strengthening the country's pharmaceutical value chain. These investments are improving health security, reducing imports, and creating high-value jobs. On advancing Uganda's space science, Mr. Speaker, government has strengthened Uganda's space science and satellite technology capabilities. Government established modern ground satellite infrastructure at the Uganda National Space Center at Mpoma Mukono district. This has enabled our scientists to successfully deploy a climate camera to the International Space Station. This has expanded the country's capacity to generate real-time data for climate monitoring, environmental management, disaster preparedness, and evidence-based decision-making. On value addition under STI, Mr. Speaker, government has intensified agro-industrialization initiatives driven by scientific innovation aimed at increasing value addition, branding, and export competitiveness. The Banana Value Addition Facility by Professor Mlanga strengthened its production capacity for banana value-added products and fulfilled export orders from South Korea, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Italy. In addition, government has invested in the establishment of the Coffee Park in Ntungamo. The Africa Coffee Park has innovated 18 products of value-added coffee ready to go into the market for roast, freeze-dry, and spray-dry high-level technology. On digital transformation, Mr. Speaker, government continued expanding digital infrastructure to improve the availability, reliability, affordability of ICT services, as well as access to the services. During the year, an additional 879 kilometers of fiber optic cable were installed, bringing the national fiber backbone to approximately 62,941 kilometers. As a result, internet costs declined from $70 to $35 per megabyte per second. Active mobile internet subscriptions stand at 18.5 million, while the number of smartphones connected to Ugandan network has reached 20 million. Total registered mobile telephone subscriptions have reached 57.3 million, placing Uganda among the most connected markets in the region. The increased penetration of mobile telephones has increased financial inclusion and improved access to e-commerce, telemedicine, marketing, and agricultural information for farmers. In the year ending March 2026, mobile money transactions rose by 29% to Uganda shillings 392.7 trillion. Active mobile money accounts stood at 36.7 million. As at 31st March 2026, the number of mobile money agents had reached 1.22 million. I now come to creative arts. Mr. Speaker, to protect intellectual property and artistic works, government enacted the Copyright and Neighboring Rights Amendment Act 2025. Government also established the Uganda Creatives Revolving Fund to provide affordable financing circles in the creative economy. By December 2025, approximately Uganda shillings 18.99 billion had been disbursed to 50 circles of musicians, benefiting 3,047 individuals, of whom 62% are youth and 43% are women. Government is also finalizing the acquisition of a dedicated home for creative artists to serve as a common user facility for young talents to create wealth and jobs. The priorities for financial year 2026-2027 under STI, ICT and creatives are the following. Mr. Speaker, Uganda shillings 1.140 trillion has been provided in the new budget for science, technology, innovation, ICT and the creative industries. The priorities next financial year include: 1. Commercialization of innovations, especially Chira, motor vehicles, coffee, dairy farmer, drugs, and vaccines and banana products. Number 2, establishment of a high-tech city. 3, additional investment in science, research, and innovation. 4, expansion of digital infrastructure to increase coverage, reliability, and affordability of internet, government services, and e-commerce. 5, growth of business process outsourcing for job creation. 6, expanding the free-to-air TV signal. And 7, strengthening intellectual property protection. I now come to enablers. Mr. Speaker, government also continued to invest in the key enablers of socio-economic transformation in line with the NDP 4 and the 10-fold growth strategy. These include human capital development, infrastructure, security, and the rule of law, as well as domestic revenue mobilization to finance the transformation agenda. Under enabler number 1, which is peace, security, and rule of law, Mr. Speaker, peace, security, and rule of law are the foundations of development. Without peace, you cannot create prosperity. Without security and the rule of law, there is no investment. Without stability, there is no growth. Mr. Speaker, I wish to repeat this. Without peace, you cannot create prosperity. Without security and rule of law, there is no investment. Without stability, there is no growth. Government has continued to invest in security, justice, and governance institutions. This financial year, the following milestones have been achieved. 1. The government continued strengthening security infrastructure, intelligence services, and operational capacity while improving the welfare of our security personnel in the UPDF, police, prisons, and intelligence services. 2. Uganda remains one of the region's most stable countries. Despite being an election year, reported crimes fell by 10.2% from 218,715 cases in 2024 to 196,405 in 2025, reducing the crime rate from 502 to 427 per 1,000 people. 3. Uganda continued to contribute to regional peace and security through African Union and UN peace support operations in Somalia, alongside military deployments in the Democratic Republic of Congo, South Sudan, and other places. 4. The 275-bed National Referral Military Hospital in Mbuya, Kampala, is now operational. It attends to an average of 150 patients per day for services including dialysis, dental care, physiotherapy, and ENT. 5. Construction of the UPDF military headquarters in Mbuya is 70% complete. In addition, over 230 housing units and new administrative blocks for the Air Force and Marines are under construction to enhance personnel welfare and operational efficiency. 6. Government provided over Uganda shillings 1.697 trillion to the relevant institutions to organize the recently concluded successful general elections. 7. Mass enrollment and issuance of national identity cards progressed well. The total population identified with the National Identification Number NIN is 34.14 million, renewals 13.85 million, cards printed 14.67 million, and cards issued to the population 6.2 million. Beyond securing elections and supporting national security, the national ID has improved access to public services, broadened financial inclusion, and eased travel within the East African community. 8. Cattle restocking has begun in Acholi, Lango, Teso, and Teso, targeting 16,000 households, each receiving 5 million to purchase 2 bulls and 3 heifers. To date, 2,000 households have been compensated. Financial year 2026-2027 priorities for security, governance, and rule of law are the following. Mr. Speaker, government has allocated Uganda shillings 10.21 trillion security, governance, and rule of law institutions for financial year 2026-2027, and the priority interventions include: 1. continued modernization, training, and welfare of the UPDF. 2, full equipping of the National Referral Military Hospital and completion of the UPDF headquarters. 3, strengthening of broader security, counter-terrorism, and regional peace support operations. 4, enhancing community policing, crime intelligence, forensics, and CCTV coverage. 5, cyber security and protection of critical national infrastructure. 6, improving immigration services, NIN/ID enrollment, and e-passport issuance. 7, fighting against corruption. 8, continued cattle restocking in the Acholi, Rango, Teso sub-regions. I now come to enabler number 2, which is infrastructure development. Mr. Speaker, sir, transport infrastructure is the bone marrow of the economy. It connects farmers to markets, workers to jobs, and industries to inputs, while linking exporters to regional and global markets. Electricity powers industrialization and drives economic transformation. In financial year 2025-2026, government achieved the following infrastructure development. Under roads and bridges, government continued with the construction of 24 major roads, totaling approximately 1,154 kilometers, and rehabilitated a further 949 kilometers of national roads. 2, government continued developing 14 strategic bridges to enhance connectivity, improve access to socio-economic services, and support the movement of goods and people within and across regions. 3, government stepped up maintenance of national roads network. Over 7,400 kilometers of paved and 14,000 kilometers of unpaved roads were maintained through labor-based contracts, and a further 1,282 kilometers of paved and 3,146 kilometers of unpaved roads were looked after under routine mechanized maintenance. 4, government opened 124 kilometers, graded 175 kilometers, and gravelled 64 kilometers of district and community access roads using the force account. 5, local governments maintained 2,700 kilometers of district and community access roads, upgraded and maintained 820 kilometers of city and municipal roads, and rehabilitated 120 kilometers of district roads. Under development of Greater Kampala Metropolitan Area infrastructure, Mr. Speaker, government has embarked on revamping road infrastructure in Greater Kampala Metropolitan Area. The target is to upgrade over 600 kilometers in the next 5 years and to maintain all major existing roads. To date, 297 kilometers of roads have been paved, several roads have been rehabilitated and maintained, and 8 major road junctions signaled to improve traffic flow and road safety. Mr. Speaker, Kampala made history as the first city in Africa to be inducted into the international network of 3 cities in the world. Government will continue building on this heritage and global recognition. In this regard, government has prioritized implementation of a cleanup exercise involving restoration of wetlands and green spaces, enforcing integrated physical planning, including pedestrian-friendly roads, enforcing trade order, and restrictions on all forms of pollution, especially noise. I now come to water transport. Mr. Speaker, government has constructed, maintained, and operated 15 ferries to connect Island community. Government has commenced construction of the 273-kilometer standard gauge railway from Maraba to Kampala. Upon completion, container transport costs from Mombasa to Kampala are projected to fall from about $3,500 to roughly $1,600, and transit time from 5 days to 1 day. Rehabilitation of the Tororo-Gulu meter gauge railway reached 66% completion, while the Kampala-Mukono section has been complete. On air transport, Mr. Speaker, with regard to air transport, physical works for Kabalega International Airport are complete. Government is now finalizing operational requirements to get the airport ready for First Oil and AFCON 2027. Construction of Kidepo International Airport is underway to boost tourism in Karamoja. Phase 1 of Entebbe International Airport's rehabilitation and expansion is complete, with a new passenger terminal and expanded cargo facility. The passenger terminal capacity has risen from 2.0 million to 3.5 million travelers per year. 12 regional aerodromes have been maintained to support regional connectivity for tourism and trade. Government is strengthening Uganda Airlines as critical transport infrastructure to enhance international connectivity for tourism, trade, investment, and the diaspora. In order to enhance operational efficiency, expand and modernize the fleet, government is further capitalizing the airline by acquiring 8 additional new passenger aircrafts. The financial year 2026-2027 priorities for transport are the following. Mr. Speaker, Uganda shillings 8.79 trillion has been allocated next financial year for transport infrastructure development, and the priority areas will include: number 1, construction of the Maraba-Kampala standard gauge railway and completion of rehabilitation of the meter gauge railway. Number 2, construction, upgrade and maintenance of Nate district urban and community access roads. Number 3, construction and maintenance of strategic bridges. 4, development of water transport systems such as ferries and ports. 5, operationalization of Kabalega International Airport and continued upgrade of regional aerodromes, and 6, expansion of the Uganda Airlines. I now come to the energy development. Mr. Speaker, sir, reliable and affordable energy is essential for industrialization and socio-economic transformation. Government continues to invest heavily in electricity generation, transmission, and distribution infrastructure. In financial year 2025-2026, government achieved the following in energy development. 1, continued development of hydro, solar, and other energy projects, alongside preparatory work for future nuclear investments. Installed generation capacity now stands at 2,098 megawatts, and the government's medium to long-term target is